Ann Kornick from Paint and Porcelain Exchange. I'm here to teach beginners how to get started in China painting, but if you've been painting a while, I'm also here for you to keep you interested in China painting and give you some new projects. Today, we're going to be doing our lupine, and so this is the first fire. Now, I already did the second fire on the piece that I'm going to do as a memo board that was Suzanne's idea, and this is the second fire. Isn't that pretty? Now, you're going to be amazed at the colors I used on this because I played forever to try to get the right colors. And you might have to do the same. I was amazed at what turned out to work the best. I tried elderberry. Elderberry was too light. It just sort of, I couldn't get it dark enough. And I tried cobalt. I didn't want to go into the darker colors, so I came up with something that I think you'll be really, really amazed at. Alrighty, let's talk about colors. I have, of course, I have my cobalt. This is my deep berry, or what would be an elderberry, but it didn't work for me. Down here I have a moss, a baby. I have a shading green, which works pretty well. I should put it up here. I would kind of prefer the darkest green, but I'll use the shading since I have it on here, but darkest green actually is a little better. This is shining. You can use shining if you have it instead of moss, it's fine. I gave you a couple of choices up here that I use. I use a lorry or an apple blossom, and then I have a heliotrope. You can use all those as a pink kind of, but this is the surprise, red grape. Who would have thunk, huh? And red grape actually blends very well with the blues and the pinks. And it comes out really, really pretty. And it gives you a nice, here I'll show you again, it gives you a nice deep, see there? It gives you a really nice deep highlight, which is kind of what you want as you're doing these, because you want to show a little bit of depth. Now, remember we talked last time, there are two different flowers on the, well, parts of the flower. The banner, which is in the back, and the keel, which is in the front. The banner on a lot of these, on like this one here, let me show you here. This is the banner, this is the keel. This would be the banner, the little bit in the back, and this would be the keel. So as we paint, the banner is going to be darker. The keel is going to be lighter. Now, I'm not putting a background on this painting when it's done because, quite frankly, I love the way it turned out. And a lot of people aren't crazy about backgrounds, and you don't always have to do a background. In fact, backgrounds are considered a little old-fashioned. I sort of like them on some things. I think some things, when you put a background on, it just jumps. And I also think a lot of times if you're doing a color around the border, it helps to blend it into the color and make the whole plate look a lot nicer. Okay, brushes. We're going to use 3 different brushes this time, I think. We're going to use this one, which is my number 2. It's one of my favorites. You can tell because I can hardly read it. It's a Dresden brush. It's Jane Houston, pink. This is a Sharp. And it's 1/4 inch. I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Use it all the time. My Sharps I use all the time. And then this is a really cheap little brush that I bought 1,000 years ago. It's a size 6. It's like, okay, we're going to start at the top. We're going to use our number 2. And I'm going to use heliotrope up here. I love heliotrope. This is the pinky heliotrope. There are 2 kinds. I have them both. One is a blue and one is a pink. And I'm just going down, as you can see. Now, initially, I'm just going to go down this way on all of these. There is one there. I am dipping frequently in my paint. Every time I leave from this, I'm dipping in my paint. So that's how frequently I'm going to the paint to get the paint. Okay? I'm getting down into the big stuff. And I'm going to clean my brush. Now remember, you don't have to do it in these colors. Remember we talked last week about the fact that lupines are every color imaginable. Let's say you did it in the pinks. Then probably you'd be doing like a darker pink at this point. You could use a ruby. You could use, but up there in the top, you're going to use ivory and maybe a little bit of moss green. Here you can see it's kind of the same way. Here they're real green. If they're it's totally purple. So, you know, you can be flexible on your colors. This is kind of a fantasy flower in a lot of ways. Okay, I'm going to turn it around myself up here because I don't want to mess too much up. And I'm going into my baby blue, not my cobalt, because I don't want it to be too dark, but I do want to put a little bit of a spin on one side of it, kind of make it a little more prominent. Try not to lose your pink. That pink is really pretty. This one could use a little here. Okay, and I'm going to clean that. And then I'm going to flip it around back the other way, and take my Q-tip and just give it a quick highlight. And if you do this really quick, that's the secret, doing it quick. You should get some nice highlights on there without messing it up. There we go. Now, one other thing I want to make sure I do, and I'm going to use, I forgot to tell you, I'll be using this brush, my real thin brush. It's actually a scroller, but I use it for a liner because it does a beautiful job. I'm going to take a little bit of my moss green, and I'm just going to go up in here and finish off the stem. And I'm going to attach the stem a couple of places. Just a couple, because if they aren't attached, they're going to look a little odd, right? So I'm just attaching it. There we go. And we'll do a little here. Okay. Now, as we're going down, I'm changing my way of doing things. I'm going to start and use my apple blossom. And I'm going to do the pink on these front guys. These are the ones that we have designated to be the keels. You could also do your heliotrope if you wanted, but I wanted to give it a little bit of variation. I didn't want all the colors to be the same all the way down. So this is pink, and I'm just going all the way through, as you can see, and putting it on wherever I think a little pink would help. And see how that kind of spruces up some of these colors? Can you see that? It really makes a difference, I think, when you kind of coat them with a little bit of pink. Now, I don't like every pink, and I know a lot of people have problems with pink. Lori pink works well, I think, if you can get it. Apple blossom works real well. The soft pink, I think, is a little too light for this application, but you can try it. And I think I want a little pink right here. So these are I kind of went through, and by doing this, I've identified a lot of the front flowers so that I don't have to deal with them. This one actually, and so I know that they're front flowers, because otherwise, as you're going through and you have to think about them, it makes it a little more difficult. There we go. That's a little better. Needed a little more oil on my brush. And now I'm looking at my original line drawing to make sure that I got all the guys that are supposed to be the front guys. There we go, there we go, there we go, there we go, there we go. Okay, so they're really pink. I know they're really pink. Now I'm going to go through and do the blue behind them. I'm going to take baby blue, half load, and a side load, but I'm using this little guy. So you say, how can you side load? Well, you can. You just have to be careful. You just go in like this, a little bit. Just touch it. And you're going to kind of shape these up. What do I mean by that? Well, some of these have maybe lost, like this one I believe back here kind of lost its shape. So I'm going to kind of add some color to it to help it get its shape back. There we go. And this guy kind of lost his color. This guy kind of lost his color, his shape. They should be a little bit pointy, not much. I'm just giving these a kind of a brush with the blue. You'll see what I'm going to do next. This will make a difference. This guy I don't like there. That's better. What am I doing? You'll see. Oh, that guy really is hidden back there, isn't he? Here, let's get this guy, this guy, this guy. I'm just putting the colors in now. And remember, you don't have to be perfect on this, because we're going to straighten it up. Oh, obviously, we're going to straighten it up in a minute with the darker color that we're going to use. But I just want to get the basic colors on here so that I know what I'm doing and see if I like them. You know, why go through and do the whole thing and then come back and go, oh, I really hate it. And just doing the blue, blue, a little blue down here. Oh, too heavy. When it gets heavy like that, if you leave it on and you fire it, you're going to end up with this blob that you may not be able to control. And it might look just like a blob, and that would be terrible. So, okay, now I've got all my colors on. And now I'm going to take what I said was my number 6 brush. I'm going to start with the one I know works. And I'm just going to go through, oh, let's clean these up a little first. I was getting a little sloppy there. Yeah, let me just clean some of them up. There we go. For my this brush, and for my entire thing, I'm going to start using red grape. Red grape, you say, oh my God, what are you doing with red grape? Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? You take your blue, like your cobalt blue, and you mix a little red grape in with it. And look how gorgeous that comes out. Full load of cobalt, side load of this, and I'm just doing it right here. Oops, I need a little more of the red grape. I'm going to pull it out this way a little. And then you can also use it on the pink if you want. So here's the pink. But with the pink, you have to clean your brush, get the blue out. So if you have 2 number 6s, this might be a perfect thing to do. Full load with the apple blossom, side load with the grape, and just do this. Now, we don't have highlights on here. You know, I noticed my brush is starting to fall apart, so I guess it's time to use the better brush. My other brush is, this brush is starting to separate. See the little hairs? I don't know if you can see them, but those hairs hit before the paint does, and I don't like that because it's making a mess. So, okay, I'm going to take my pink, side load of this, and I'm just going to... Now, I will tell you right now that as you do this, you're going to get rid of some of the highlights you had on there. That's okay. We're going to put them back in. Look at this. Just add a little. You don't have, like this one, I think I added a little too much, but that's okay. Add a little, flip it around, maybe add a little at the point. Here, I'm going to add a little there. I'm going to add a little here. Here, I'm going to add a little here. Maybe a little here, a little here. Just at the base, even. Okay. Then you can go back up, and these are the guys that make the big difference when you start adding that color. The blue just It absolutely glows when you add it. And add it like a shadow. Add it at the base. Here, let's get this guy here a little better. There, that's better. Add it at the base. Add it close to the light one. Can you add a little at the top? See, I'm going right along the side of that one now. I want to have a little more oomph there. Oops, that's more oomph. See the deep shadow I've got there? I'm going to try to just move it without actually erasing it. Ooh, that's pretty. I like that too. That's pretty. You probably could use violet of iron if you don't have red grape. Red grape, the reason I'm using red grape is because it is a purple. Oops, I want a little right here. There. Okay, oops. And a little right here. All right, now, there's no highlights on this. None at all. It looks very bleak. We don't want that. So what we need is a brush where we can kind of wipe out the highlight. And I think a brush works better. Wipe it out as best I can, and then just pull back. Now, when you go into, let me show you this. This is really important. When you go into your turpentine or whatever you use, you're going to go in and you're really going to clean it. Then you're going to press, press, press. You might even have to go over on the other side. You don't want any turpentine on there because if you have turpentine, it's going to run. And how do I know which ones to do? I just pick wherever I know the highlight should be. I know that doesn't help. Some things, instinctively, when you look at it, you can see the highlight automatically. Like, see here? I can see that highlight. When you can automatically see the highlight, those are the ones you should do first. My sun is coming this way. I want this tip. And see, that wasn't enough on there. I want that tip to have the highlight, and this tip to have the highlight. There we go. And maybe a little here. Okay. And now I'm going to clean my brush really well, get all that blue off. And here I can see a highlight right there. And you can do it with this too. You can do it with the Q-tip if you prefer. I just think the brush is a little softer. And if you lay it flat and then pick it up, wipe it off, and go do the next one, lay it flat and pick it up, you get a much more interesting highlight. There we go. Here's one. I'm going to lay it flat, pick it up. This one I think I can see, so I'm going to lay it flat and pick it up. There. And then you may have to sometimes pull out that little part down there. See here, it's a little dark. Just tease it. Okay, here I'm just using a little bit of the pink with the red grape. That one has a little more blue in it, so I'm going to put a little more blue in it there. And this guy up here, I think I tried to make them too defined. Some of these shouldn't be this defined up here. Yeah. Let's pull him out. And look at him. Yeah, he was a little too defined too. Okay, so now I'm going to go back with the blue, with a dab of the purple, and just do the base, because I know that's where he gets it. Just touch it. That's all. Just touch it. See here, you need a little more blue here on this side. There we go. Now, these guys all need highlights still. Highlight. I don't have my brush clean enough. And you'll know that, and the way you'll know that is it won't pick up the paint. There, see how it picked up the paint? There. I want this guy to have a highlight right here. There, that's a little better. And this guy needs a little more here. How do I know where to put the highlight? I don't. But you do want it, you want the color to vary. So, if you have it all the same color, like this one, you're going to want it to vary a little. Just pull this down, or pull your brush down, and just get a little bit of color off the edge. Just even, look here, even if it's just a little off the edge. And if it doesn't lift for you, go back in. Clean off your paint, and just lift it. You want the color that's underneath, which is the blue or the pink, to kind of shine through. That's all. And you want it on the top, like here. Or you want it on this side. The left side, if that's where your light's coming from. So you have to know where your light is coming from. Okay, there. And then these, I'm just going to kind of pull around a little bit. Now here's another one. I'm a little confused. What was this down here? Let's see. Let's pull him back. Let's look at him. Oh, okay. So I'm going to kind of redo this and do it with the, I got to get oil on my brush. I do it with a little of the blue and a little of the red grape, and just do it at the base like this, base like this. It's a shadow, remember? Here. And then this one down here is the pink one, because the pink on mine are in the front. So I'm going to get pink and a little grape, and just do this, this, a little more grape there, and a little more grape there, and a little more grape there. Now there's one last thing you're going to do. You're going to take a point, either an eraser or this, and you're going to go through, and on the very point of it, and I know you won't be able to, let me do it upside down. Usually if I do it upside down, you can see it. You're going to go through and separate these. So where they need to be separated, you're going to separate them like here, and here, and here, a little there. These you can't tell which one's which. So if you pull one out, like this, and maybe a little of this, and here, here, a little there, a little right here, These two need to be separated. This one, there. Maybe a little here. Okay, I think that does it. And it separates them. Then you're going to take your, where is he? Scroller. Get it in the color that you used for the stem. I used a different color, I think, but make sure you have enough oil. I don't have enough oil on mine, so I got to get a little more oil. Okay. And you're going to go up the middle. And you can be kind of loosey-goosey about it. But these guys need to attach. And this is what's important. Attach some of these guys here. So see what I'm doing? A little green there, a little green there, a little green there, a little there, a little here. Look at the difference that makes. Doesn't that make a huge difference? If you just attach a couple of those, it really gives it a nice depth, I think. Should be a little green here, and maybe a little green here. I think I just run a little green through there, just to see what it looks like. Okay, I think that's enough. Oh, maybe there. Okay. Now we're going to go down and play with the bottom half. I'm going to use my 1/4 inch. Now, at the bottom, we're going to take and we're going to double load our brush to do these, leaves. So I'm going to do full load of moss and a side load of the shading or the dark, whatever you are using. And when I say side, I mean do a little C into it, just so that maybe that much has it on. You don't need a lot. Okay. I'm going to start with this guy that's right in the middle. And I'm just going to pull down to the base, pull down to the base. Oh, I need to put a little more on. Now, you may want to do a little wash over that middle with the light green. Like this, see the little veins and things? You don't want them to be so pronounced. So even before you start, you could do this, put a little bit of a wash, and then just go through with a side load of shading green and kind of we're smoothing these leaves out so they aren't quite so intense. I tend to paint kind of jaggedy, and I want to smooth these guys out, make them a little prettier. This needs a little more depth here, so I'm gonna. Now, can you take the red grape and add it? Sure, look. That's called artistic license because honestly, that color doesn't exist on this guy. And then I'm just using my finger to tap out the middle because at this point, what you want is, you really want these to be subtle. So I'm going to go through and do the yellow on everything. I mean green, I'm sorry, the light green, moss green. And just kind of cover them so that they aren't, so you don't see all the, so you don't see all the lines. Same thing here. You wonder why I paint fast. This is an easy way to do it. Just decide what it is that needs to be done on all of them. Do it all at once. Your paint's not going to set up that much if you're really careful. And if you use some, like I use, what is it? I use Copaiba and mineral oil. I mix my paints with mineral oil so that they all have a little extra open power here, but you don't have to do that. But if you do, then that's gonna save you too. So here, side load now, and I'm just coming down and evening out these leaves and doing the tops of them. And this guy, I don't know why I didn't finish him off. He should go back in here somewhere. There we go. See, if you make a mistake or you forget something, let's say it's not really a mistake, you just forgot to do it, you can fix it anytime while you're painting, as long as you can get the paint dark enough, or, you know, to cover the mistake, or you can get it light enough. You either make it too dark, you make it darker or lighter. So for instance, here, where I needed to add that leaf, I made it a little darker. If you were on a background that was dark, you could make it a little lighter and you get the same effect. It would pull it out. Like here, if you made this a little lighter, it would pull it out. So if you forgot to put a bud in or something, you can always adjust it. Now here, let me just, see, I still have that. I want them smoother. There we go. You have to wipe your finger off, by the way, if you use your finger. I'm going to go with a smaller brush. Going down to a 6. Now, the other is my Sharf. And this is the one from Ryan's. See how much smoother it is? Look, if I go over these, see how much smoother it is? This is a squirrel hair. I have to say, if you get a better brush, now I'm not saying that Sharf isn't a good brush, it is a good brush, but sometimes they're synthetic, and I like synthetic, but there are times when it's appropriate to use a non-synthetic to get the smoothness that you want. Okay, I want a little more here. Ah, what the heck? I got a little too much, there we go. There we go. Yeah, that's better. That's smoothing it out. And see, like here, there was a shadow. Now I know you think, oh, she's just painting in her leaves. I am. But I'm doing them with the dark, and then I'm going to wipe out the highlights, and that will give me what I want. So here I went way off. Let's clean that up. Here I went way off. Let's clean that up. Okay. Now, okay. Now you're going to take and put a little bit of highlight in there, if you can. Some of these won't let you do it, and that's fine. I got my turpentine on here. Come on, go smoother there. I'm gonna have to use a Q-tip here. Either that or a smaller brush. But sometimes if you use the side of a Q-tip, you actually get a better... I'm gonna pull up my darkest green. I have it here on my palette, and I'm gonna start adding a little of that. And I think you'll see it makes a difference. A lot of times you just need to have the right brush. Other times you just need to have the right paint. In this case, it's both. I'm going to leave that guy on top. I'm going to put this guy underneath. Oh, how do you leave him on top? You don't touch him. You let the color speak for itself. So if you have something that's painted on a second fire, you should be, basically you're doing the highlights. I mean the shadows. There we go. I'm keeping them just all opaque, because I think there's too much of the texture in this piece, and I just want some that are just opaque. All right. And then up here, we're going to do a little of the same. Down here, this is in the shadows. Oh. I'm using the darkest green. I just think the darkest green is working better for me for these leaves. You can use whatever you want, but for me, it's darkest green. Okay. And then these guys are just spiky. There we go. I'm going to take my pointer and I'm going to go darker down in here with these guys. Maybe more oil. When you're using a pointer or anything like that, you really do need more oil than you think you do. And then we're going to turn this guy around and do this side. This bud up here, I just need to add a little more color to it. I'll do that with this guy, my number 2, and just touch it. Okay. I think that's pretty much it. So this is what it turned out like. Now remember, this is not going to fire this dark. Okay? It's going to fire more like the one I had. Oh, let me bring it up here. It's going to fire more like this. So you may want to go back in and put another coat on it, but you may not. Don't overdo it. If you make it too dark, it's just going to look muddy. Pick up those brushes. Keep painting. I'll see you next time.